Okay, well, let us go ahead and begin. So I'm going to just say a little more official welcome for those who have joined us in recent moments. So welcome to Sundays with Spirit. My name is Angela Potts-Mang'andah. I am in for Jennifer today to host, and I have volunteered to speak as well. I'm very excited. And yeah, so Jennifer gets a couple weekends off here and there, and that's just wonderful for her to restore. She's off doing other things. You know, she lives near her spiritual teacher, and there's often things she gets to join in on at the Peace Village where her teacher resides. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity. And the other thing I love is that Jennifer really creates these platforms for those in the ministry, like myself, who started as a participant, to be able to grow into a place where you feel comfortable to lead, to speak, to share. So she's really so generous with her platforms. And so I'm deeply grateful to be here as the host and speaker today. And we have a wonderful volunteer, Lisa, who's here to pray us in. And we have Jennifer Paskow, who's here to be our musician. So we're good. We're good to go. So Lisa, I will bring you onto the stage here. Lisa's a longtime Masterful Living student and member of our community. So blessed to have you here, Lisa, to pray us in. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. It's so nice to see you and to be here with everyone. So let's place our hands on our heart, take a breath of love and gratitude. We're so grateful to be here this Sunday for our Sundays of Spirit. We're blessing Angela, our speaker and host and pilot today. She's a triple threat. Blessing her in organizing the service and helping things to run smoothly. We're so grateful for all of those who are joining today or will listen later, knowing that they will receive what's meant for them in this service. We bless Jennifer Hadley, the minister and leader of the Power of Love Ministry, and for bringing us all together in a place where we can open our hearts and lift our vibration, receive messages of love and faith, comfort from Spirit. We're blessing Jennifer Paskow, our musician today, so thankful for her gift of music. And we share all the benefits of the service with everyone, everywhere, because we're one. We let it be. We know it's done. So it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And thank you, everyone, for placing your intentions in the chat. Just so interested to be in our heart today. And I'm so grateful to bring on Jennifer Paskow, our musician for today. She has been here before. Oh, I love this view. Oh, what a beautiful background. Awesome. Hi, Jennifer. I will share your introduction today so people who they haven't had a chance to hear your amazing music, they can learn a little bit more about you. So Jennifer Paskow is an award-winning singer-songwriter on a mission to uplift and empower children and their families. The theme of self-love and acceptance weaves beautifully through her music, as well as through her classes, workshops, and one-on-one healing sessions. Holding an inner aspiration to bring more love into the world, Jennifer created a self-love and empowerment program called My Radiant Heart. She also co-facilitates Let Your Voice Be Heard, a creative empowerment circle for girls and women to express their authentic selves in a safe and supportive sisterhood. Jennifer has been engaged in energetic healing light work and building revolutionary communities of healing and transformation for the past decade. Amazing. So thank you for being here, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, take it away.
You are welcome here. Oh, love. Even parts you feel are broken.
Where'd my sound go?
They are welcome to love is everywhere. You can. Every word you spoken, every path you choose. Oh, 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 you are where you go. Even parts you feel are broken, they are well to love. You can. Every word you spoken, every path you choose. Oh, 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 you are welcome here. You are welcome. You are welcome here.
Thank you. I love that song. Ah, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I told Jennifer Hadley that should be like our theme song in the background of our marketing. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting us started. And yeah, this is, I don't know if this is necessary. I don't think Jennifer introduces herself as the host and speaker. But I am going to read my bio in case there's something in there that shares a little bit more about who I am before I share more with you today. So I'm going to maybe awkwardly read my own bio, but for the purpose of allowing you to know me a little bit more. So I found A Course in Miracles as a 25-year-old while attending a retreat with Iyanla Van Zandt. Upon seeking support in reading and applying the principles of A Course in Miracles, I found Jennifer Hadley in 2012. And so for the past 11 years, I've been a student and participant in many of the Power of Love ministry programs, which have helped me tremendously to just heal every aspect of my life. And it's still ongoing, of course. And before that, I was an educator by profession, and I have traveled and worked for 5 years in Malawi, Zambia, and Indonesia as an English teacher and teacher trainer. And I did the Peace Corps in 2007 to 2009, where I met my husband. And so now we have a daughter, and yeah. And so I work part-time for the ministry. I work on the community support team. And I also am a trained certified spiritual counselor in Jennifer's ministry, as well as a mom, stay-at-home mom. And so that's me. And I'm just so grateful to be here. And, you know, I'm so aware of the gift it is, as I said before, to have a platform to share and to tune in to what spirit is guiding me to share, what I have to share. And I am really taking this as an opportunity to recommit myself to the principles of A Course in Miracles in what I'm going to share with you. And so it's not selfish, but it feels like, oh, I am using this for my awakening, but I'm using everything for my awakening. So I thank you for being the audience today. And I am sharing about recent experiences as a parent, and yet again, this talk I'd like to share is about coming back into my heart, coming back into what's true, because as a parent, I felt a little knocked off my seat, my spiritual seat, as Jennifer has taught us that her teacher, Venerables, talks about holding your seat, your spiritual sovereignty. And I feel like some experiences I've had, which I'll share with you, have totally taken me back to being rocked off my seat. So this talk is about getting back on the seat. And so I'm thinking that, and I'm trusting that there's aspects of what I'm sharing that even if you're not a parent, it's applicable, because we're consistently coming back to the truth, coming back to peace, coming back to our spiritual seat. And so I'm grateful to be here. And I've had so much insight preparing for today that, again, I'm so grateful. I'm taking away the most benefit, I'm sure, from this. And what this started out as was for the last 2 weeks, it started with Justine. So my daughter's 4 years old. 4 years old, toddler. We're in the realm of the big feelings and the exploration of communication, how to communicate. So a lot of what Jennifer Paskow is offering, I'm like, sounds amazing, because I'm very fortunate to have my own community of mothers and families where we do align in the parenting approach of whatever you want to label it. It's about us coming from a grounded, loving place, redirecting our children again and again and again, without squashing without controlling, manipulating, or squashing their spirit. It's quite an amazing dance. So for 2 weeks leading up to now, so the last 2 weeks, Justine was ill. Like maybe she had something, because what happened is I got what she had and I thought she had a cold, but then when I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a sinus infection. And she was talking about her ears popping, and she was talking about different symptoms that later when I had it, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. So we were both in sort of immune compromised circumstances where, now as I reflect, that her behavior was probably very much from not feeling well and being inside a lot and not being able to be out and kind of having her regular rhythms. And I would say the normal balance we have of tons of time outside, tons of time to play and be with other children. And so when I prepared for this talk, I recognized, oh, okay, this is why. Because what happened was, in the course of a week or less, I got whacked in the face or the head by my daughter several times. So, and it was just it kept bringing me to deeper places of triggering. I mean, I had the gamut of responses. And this is what I'm really tuned into, is how do you respond? My interest. And so what happened was that for two of the occasions stand out in my mind. One, we had been out and about, and we pulled in the driveway, and we had run out of time to go to the playground. And again, as I'm reflecting, I'm she had not really been out playing. She probably was really looking forward to it. But as we went out and about, and did our thing, we ran out of time for the playground. So we talked about it. But as we pulled into the driveway and it was super clear we're not going to the playground, she was so upset. And so she unbuckled herself from her seatbelt and came over my driver's seat and just whacked me. And I was like, oh my God. So in all honesty, in that particular day, because it had been another day, it was like, okay, I'm getting hit again in the head. Oh my God. And she was just screaming. She was so upset. And on that day, I was so overwhelmed. I like went into a triggered response, really. And I just started doing coping things like bringing everything in the house and just tidying up the car. And so I'd left her in the car. I came back and I was like, I was so overwhelmed. And there was just something that kept standing out. Like when I get hit in the head, it's like I'm offline and I don't function well. And I was like, what is that about? Okay, I know nobody wants to get struck in the head by an angry toddler. Yet I was like, okay, this is happening frequently and I'm not prepared for it. And and it started bringing up like my unconscious beliefs and unconscious reactions. And I remember that day I got her in the house and I sat her down and I said something to the effect of, my love, if you repeatedly hit me when you're angry, I don't feel safe to be around you. That's what I said. Okay. And I was like, okay. And, here we are, we're like observing ourselves, we're in it, then we're observing it. And we're like, I don't know, that didn't sound like the loving thing, and I honestly could feel that I was off my game. Like, what is the loving thing to say or do? And I have to say that one of the things that parenting is so helpful for me with is it shows me so clearly my unconscious and conscious beliefs in separation and in kind of like where I would want to control or manage something versus stay in my loving heart versus tune into spirit. What's the best way to respond to this? So it's really an amazing practice arena for really seeing the depth of my commitment to honoring the oneness versus separation. So on that particular day, that was like one of the things I said. And I was basically saying, you're not safe. And, in the middle, I am saying big feelings are normal. They're natural. They come to all of us. And we use our big feeling, we release them. We don't use them to hurt. So this is like the classic thing I say. It's just interesting where other things come in. Like I'm not safe to be around you. And then I thought, oh, that's not the right thing to say. Okay. And then, so I had kind of recovered from that day where I left her in the car because that didn't feel right, but I needed to tend to myself, so this is the main thing, is when you perceivingly are attacked and then you defend, or and in that case, she was triggered, I got triggered, and I'm like, okay, this is not that helpful. And, there are other on the spectrum. And to be honest, this is where I'm like, wow, I can see where people who are less grounded than I do very, could have very strong reactions to children's strong reactions. And it's like, wow, when we got to bring this cycle to, we got to, wow, I just have more compassion just for, especially for parents who stay in their seat, because it's such an amazing practice field, as I said. And then one other time, a day later after that, we were on a hike. Every Wednesday, we take this dog out to the forest and the dog runs. Now, she was a little bit more recovered from her cold situation. I was just still in it. I wasn't feeling great, but normally I give her a little piggyback on this walk because we're out there for about an hour, and it just keeps her occupied. Like I give her a piggyback going one way and coming back. And then as we came back and I felt tired and I was telling her, okay, in 10 seconds, we're going to count down and I'm going to put you down. And so we did that. I put her down. She's still upset. And then I had thought, okay, I'm going to move in closer to her. This is what I gained from that last experience is like, no, don't leave them alone. Move toward them, help them. And I moved toward her and she whacked me. And I sobbed so deeply. I don't know where it came from, but you've got, you're like not feeling well, you're overwhelmed. It's a repeated uncomfortable experience. It was just this huge release that came out and I let it happen. But that day, as we moved from that place in the woods, in the forest, I was like, honestly, what came to me is like the Helen Schuckman thing, like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Because this, what I felt was I was not grounded in a position. And I kept being like the victim, or I just was in a position where I didn't feel, again, spiritually sovereign. So as I walked out of the forest that day, the phrase came to me, saving face. And it came to me, it's like, I'm getting whacked in the face and the head, and something about saving face came to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to look that up in the course. And so I looked up saving face, or I put face in as a search. And I got a lot of seeing the face of Christ and that type of phraseology. And then I was led to chapter 4. So I have to reach down. So chapter 4, section 4, which is this need not be, which is like, oh, this is classic, for me. And I open up chapter 4 to look at my text, and I'm in the FIP, Foundation for Inner Peace version. And so chapter 4, section 4, this need not be. And I look at this and I'm like, oh yeah, I've circled nearly every sentence in the first 2 paragraphs. And so I wanted to read to you some of this section, and also just really let you know where I felt like I found my bullseye answer to my seeking, really. So in chapter 4, section 4, paragraph 1, line 1, it says, if you cannot hear the voice for God, it's because you do not choose to listen. That you do not listen to the voice of your ego, that you do listen to the voice of your ego is demonstrated by your attitudes, your feelings, and your behavior. Yet this is what you want. This is what you're fighting to keep and what you're vigilant to save. And this was my bullseye. It says, your mind is filled with schemes to save the face of your ego, and you do not seek the face of Christ. And so in observing myself responding to my daughter's intensity, her trigger, I did find that all these different things were coming to me as if I was like searching the one mind for how do I respond to this, because I was taken off guard in most of the instances. And all these things came up, like no one gets to hit me, and then different things where I just could feel that my ego was totally leading my response, or it was like my ego was totally what do you say, like tweaked or something. It's like that came right up, and I don't know if it's like has to do with your identity being connected to your face as a personality thing. And I know that in some Asian cultures, when you say me, like if someone's saying, are you talking to me? They actually point to their nose, like as the center of their face being more like how they identify. And so that really spoke to me. Your mind is filled with schemes to save the face of your ego, and you do not seek the face of Christ. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what's happening here. And it goes on in paragraph 2. It says, I've said that you cannot change your mind by changing your behavior, but I've also said in many times that you can change your mind. When your mood tells you that you have chosen wrongly, and this is so whenever you're not joyous, then know this need not be. In every case, you have thought wrongly about some brother God created and are perceiving images your ego makes in a darkened glass. Think honestly what you have thought that God would not have thought, and what you have not thought that God would have you think. And so, and then the last line says, as a loving brother, I'm deeply concerned with your mind and urge you to follow my example as you look at yourself and at your brother and see in both the glorious creations of a glorious Father. And this is what I'm so grateful that I'm led to this, because this is what it's as if my spirit was crying for me to see, to be able to, it's like the classic, what would Jesus do? It's like, what would Jesus do? Because I can see I'm not pausing to ask for spirit guidance. I'm in the moment reacting, and it doesn't feel good. And I have a lot of patience with myself, and I don't necessarily I feel like I carry guilt for not doing it right, but I am like so willing to come back to the source of truth with any challenge, sometimes I do the classic, like, okay, I need help. I just close my eyes and pick a page and go with that. But in this case, I did really feel like Spirit was giving me a phrase to help me, to guide me to this place. And and that's it. It's like, no, I want to see clearly. I want to see clearly. I want to be unbotherable. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not expecting, and I don't think that you're getting the message that I'm thinking, oh, Justine, keep whacking me and let me practice. I'm working on all angles of this, which is to truly understand what would lead her or to help her not get to those places of intense despair. But I also really, really wanted to recenter myself and ground myself, so that I know how I know what I believe, no matter what she does. And so this is where I went, I go to the course. And this is what I also wanted to share, is that what do we do when it's time to refocus, recenter, when maybe it's a relationship of any kind in our life that's really challenging us. It's like poking the depths of our sadness, because like I said, I had deep sadness come out. I've had so many things come up to be released, which is beautiful. I'm willing. And I just know that by aligning myself with, like, accurately, I can experience miracles in these instances. Miracles because I stay in my loving heart. And, I did have an experience with Justine maybe a few weeks before this period, where she was trying to, I think, bite me. And I was so clear. And I had just had this like spiritual, I've had an activation session, which are offered in the ministry. And I felt super aligned. And I didn't even have to try. I just stayed so centered. And I didn't participate. I just said, I'm going to come sit down. I'm going to sit down. I really want to know. I really want to talk to you and help you. But just in my way of being, she just sat down next to me. She sat herself down and everything calmed. And it's like, okay, I really am interested in being there and just having that be like having a strong muscle that I can respond that way no matter what. And so just to share that some of the things that I'm doing, because I do think that this is a deep programming of how to be as a parent, but of course this is going to, it's going to seep into all areas of my life. But I was led, I have a few practices that I do, and I'm in this beautiful group and we text each other every day. And this is something Jennifer Hadley taught us, is to, with her prayer partners, that they text each other their daily gratitudes and even their intention for the day. So every day I'm sending my gratitudes, and I also send to my friends my intention, kind of like my life contract. And I'm saying, so one of the lines that I say every day, and I send this, is, I'm awake to all cries for love, and I respond with infinite patience, kindness, and gentleness. So I'm really working to really step into what I'd like, how I'd like to be, how I'd like to respond. And I am so lucky to have a friend who I feel has so embodied unconditional love with her daughter, and I get to see it modeled. And I just feel so, I actually have two mothers that I feel like are pros, and I tell them all the time. But I think, I think it's one of the most remarkable things to witness for me. And it's especially because I'm in it, I'm right in there in it. But I'm sure if you're out and about in the world and you see parent interactions, when you see a loving, infinitely patient, kind parent, it is so healing. For me, it's just like, because I feel like we all relate to the fact that we're parenting ourselves. So if you're a parent now, actively, you're parenting a child, and then you're parenting yourself. And it's just this amazing, multifaceted experience of having God be your father. And, then your higher self almost feels like a parental presence in your mind, your awareness. But I'm so lucky, and so this friend of mine who has a daughter who, honestly, I think in many arenas, many experiences I've been with them in the world, her daughter could be labeled disruptive, aggressive, and like unruly. And her mother calls her curious, hands-on, and free. And her mother sees her so innocent, so clearly. And it is so healing for me. And I know that this is just such a profound opportunity for me to learn how to offer unconditional love, and what does that look like, and how to guide someone again and again without while maintaining seeing their innocence, seeing their wholeness, seeing their perfection. So my friend had given me this guide to clean parenting. It's like a trademarked peaceful parenting approach, but I reread that preparing for this, and it really has helped me because the main tenets are to be one with the child, really, to be on their team, and to know that every time they're acting out, there's an unmet need. And, and that helped me identify, like, yeah, Justine had not been out playing. She was cooped up, not feeling well, and had a lot of bottled up emotion. Further in the clean parenting is that you would be empathetic when a child is experiencing negative emotion, and empathetic in the way that this woman described it was taken from nonviolent communication, really, where you would just listen and say not much at all, so that you would just allow them to process. And almost just in your silence, you're saying, is there anything else? Is there more? What else? And that you can really uncover miraculous. It could be something a child's holding from months ago or longer that they've never got to release. And so I know we can relate. It might take you to your own childhood, but for me, just healing this now in my mind is healing this backwards, forwards for me, for all of humanity. And so the last thing I'd like to share is that months ago, I worked with a spiritual counselor, and and in that session, I was talking about my mothering and being like, whoa, I am seeing myself go all over the place here. And so my counselor had said, oh, do you know about the Brene Brown parenting manifesto? And I had never read it. And I'll find it, or we could put it in the chat if you are curious. But this parenting manifesto that she wrote, and it's so beautiful. And it's like, I didn't even really know that a manifesto is like a public declaration of a policy. And so I was like, I'm going to write one. And so I wrote one that I would like to read, and I'll share it on the screen. And this has really, honestly, I plan to read it as much as I can, and it's already having a profound effect on my parenting. But I'd love to share that with you. Okay, one moment. Oh, interesting. Okay. Here it is. Okay. All right, so here we go. I just need to, and I'm one-handed here. Okay, so my daughter again, her name is Justine. Okay, it says, above all else, I desire to demonstrate unconditional love and infinite patience with you. I desire for you to feel safe to come to me with your biggest fears, emotions, dreams, and curiosities. I desire to be a consistently loving mother, grounded in the truth that we are one, and that you are innocent, perfect, intelligent, my equal. I desire you to know your full worth deeply in your being, to know that what you prefer and what you enjoy is important, and you get to use your heart and your guidance as your compass in this world. You will learn this through my demonstration of following my heart and giving you lots of choice and freedom in your life. I desire our home environment, your family normal, to be harmonious, joy-filled, respectful, and genuinely interested in one another. I'm choosing to co-create this harmony in the daily rhythms we follow and the care and love we put into our home, our meals, and our intentional family time. I intend to demonstrate that we are spiritual beings having human experiences, and we have a direct connection to God. You will see me pause to ask for guidance, to pray before meals, and to pray throughout the day, in both professing gratitude and seeking guidance. You will see that Spirit shows us the way, and you will know you need not feel lost or alone. I will allow you to see my humanity, and I will take full responsibility for my mistakes. You will see that mistakes are okay, and that forgiveness is our way back to peace. I will demonstrate this by apologizing and letting you know when I'm overwhelmed. I will share with you how I have made mistakes and how I've learned to allow Spirit to undo all my errors. You will know forgiveness as a tool and its magical powers. I desire for you to experience a healed, holy relationship between your Father and me. You will see us grow in love and appreciation for each other. You will see us making time for ourselves and as a family. You will feel the beauty of us sharing our lives together. You will learn that you are a global citizen. You are Malawian. You are American. You are part of the one mind and the one family. You will spend time in Malawi learning another way of life. You will be able to have a meal with your ago-go-go, her great-grandmother. And the world will open up and you will see the beauty that it holds for you. We will encourage you to see the world and access its treasures. Finally, Justine, my desire is that you fearlessly love yourself and life and follow your heart's compass to the most fulfilling experience of life that is possible for you. And I will be here to love you and offer my heartfelt encouragement and wisdom. And so I leave by just sharing this journey that I'm having of being a completely human who fell off, can fall off my seat, but my desire to get back in there. And I'm just so grateful to join with you. I feel like this is why we come together. We come together to recommit to seeing clearly and to knowing the innocence in others and ourselves. And so I just wanted to leave with this ending of the same paragraph, same chapter 4, section 4. And I just want to read this last section and close with it. It says, watch your mind for the temptations of the ego and do not be deceived by it. It offers you nothing. When you've given up this voluntary dispiriting, you will see how your mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal. And it says, you're not sufficiently vigilant against the demands of the ego to disengage yourself. This need not be. The habit of engaging with God and his creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. And so I am actively resetting my mind. And so I share with you my daily commitment, and I thank you for listening. And I trust that this is supportive to the one mind. So I am going to place my hand on my heart. I'm going to lead us into a short meditation. And so just taking a breath and creating some space for spirit. So grateful for this journey we're all on. This journey back into the heart. This journey where we come back to our heart and know it's our safest place. It's our refuge. Grateful for the reminder that Spirit will show us the way through all situations, circumstances. So grateful for this reminder that our job is to find our way back, to open ourselves, to recognize if we are experiencing anything less than joy and peace, that this need not be, no matter what is happening. And I was reminded that as Jesus, as the stories told, as Jesus was being brought to the crucifixion, his earnest, heartfelt response was, "They know not what they've done." And he was committed to seeing the innocence, knowing the innocence. And he was committed to knowing himself as a spirit and knowing that his physical body was not his identity. We are so grateful to have a model for how we can remain peaceful when it seems we're being attacked. We're grateful to know it's possible to remain in our loving heart, and that this is the miraculous vibration that heals, that dissolves all blocks, all attacks on love. We're so grateful to remember together that we can change our mind. We can decide who we are, how we show up in all relationships. And we can decide, what are we going to demonstrate? And we are grateful to also respond to any of our own personal cries for love with love. And we again go to our heart and ask Spirit, and maybe we'll be shown to call someone or do something specific or particular that would support us. But again, being committed to that willingness to go to Spirit whenever we are not joyful or peaceful, to be reset. We're so grateful to know that love is the healer. So grateful to open ourselves more fully to the experience of love as our being, as the pulse of life. So grateful. And together we're making an offering of all blocks to love, known and unknown. May we access love in the moment we need it. So just taking a breath here. Okay, and Jennifer will pass it over to you when you're ready. Take your time.
No such thing as a mistake. Everything is divine. You don't have to be perfect. Just look around and you will find. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. We are here to love and grow. We are here to know that perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. There'll be ups and downs. They'll take you for a ride. It'll compass will be your guide. They'll never let you down. It's perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. We are here to learn and grow. We are here to love and know that perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed. Perfectly imperfect is the way we're designed.
Thank you. Beautiful. Very relevant. We are here to learn and grow. We say that every time. We're just learning. We're all learning. Okay, so now we can take a moment for those who are willing. We will have our breakout session time. And, you're invited to share whatever has come up for you, what feels helpful. If it feels like you've been inspired to make any declaration or take a particular action. If you prefer to just listen, that's totally fine. Just asking that everybody listen with a non-judgmental, open, loving heart, and just give everyone a chance to speak who would like to. I'm so glad I was just given a reminder about setting the timer. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so we will head into the breakout. And here we go. All right. Okay, so it's going to be a quaint little group of us here. Oh, yeah. So I'll start with you, Lisa, if you'd like to share anything.
Well, thank you for your beautiful, really beautiful talk. I was crying by the end of it. It's so heartfelt. And yeah, I really appreciate all the work you're doing in trying to be such a loving and grounded parent. Listening to Spirit. What a gift that is for Justine. I appreciated what you were saying, that you don't believe in punishment. There was I didn't hear that word, or you were looking for the appropriate way to respond. And I thought that was so great as a former, classroom teacher and still a teacher. Very beautiful. A couple of parents who I knew, I had a couple of their daughters over the years, they wrote a book called Parenting from the Heart that just came to mind. And their last name is Hatfield, if you're so Ty and Linda Hatfield. I have not read it, but I've seen a bit of their workshops, and it sounds a lot like what you're doing already. But anyway, I was very inspired. Did you say at any point to Justine, like, oh, ow, oh, that hurt, or kind of let her know that the consequence of that to you?
It's like, okay, what did I do? I've had so many options. Definitely, because what I'm finding too, that I didn't really bring up, but it feels like some of these experiences are coming up for me to have a chance to say how I feel very clearly, so that it's like it's healing anytime I didn't say that something hurt me. So it's so multifaceted, right? Because it's like I'm constantly hearing myself say, when Justine's, let's say, out playing with other children, and she gets upset by something, and I can say, you can say, that hurts. I don't like that. Please don't do that. And so for sure, I'm pretty certain that I'm saying, ow, I don't like that, or that hurts. And so, yeah, saying how we feel is definitely, it's almost like I'm amazed at how strongly it's coming out of me to speak up for myself. And I'm constantly trying to tone that down, because it feels like sometimes it's a release of times I never got to say it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of that conversation going on about how things feel. And yeah, and it is
important too. Sorry. Yeah, it's important for her to know, like, oh, you're not made out of styrofoam or something. Oh, and then it's okay, like you said, for her to say, "Oh no, I don't do that." If somebody's rough with her. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No. Yeah, and there's so much I might have left out of my talk, so oh, okay. Yeah. This is great too, because it's so funny because we had this whole plan that my husband was going to have her while I was here, and then she fell asleep early, and then it was like a whole other aspect of the trust and faith, like it's going to work out. It's okay.
Cool down by myself.
Okay, don't worry. Yeah. So thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I never thought of that. She might think that I'm like that moms are made out of a different material, and they can just because I didn't share this in my sort of practice sessions. I think it's sort of humorous that that experience of, oh, I'm having a life experience and I might be talking about or looking for resources, and then my social media feed will just be giving me all this information that's so aligned with what's in my mind.
Yeah.
And one thing that came across was when children express their emotions, that's because they feel safe, and they let you see it all. And that's, honey, no. So that was like, oh yeah, she feels safe. She sure feels safe. That's good. And you can have a little bit of laughter, like,
Yeah.
oh, what an honor. What a great honor. But yeah.
No, it's so great. Yeah, I just really, without any more words, it was so beautiful.
So I'm totally parenting the spirit right now. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. Jennifer, anything you'd like to share?
I thought your share was so beautiful. And what struck me so much is that it's so beautiful to watch you and other parents that I know so deeply reflect on being a parent. Like it's a big responsibility, and how the healing of ourselves and how it affects other people, especially your children. I just thought that was so beautiful to hear your manifesto, that you took the time to write this to her. I just thought, wow, like if every parent did that, like, and if we all were parented like that, like how beautiful. It was just listening to it, like my nervous system just like relaxed, and it was just pure love to hear your words and how lucky your daughter is, and just really how profound it is that you're living a conscious life, and that your child is witnessing and being able to partake in this just like feels like a very deeply profound healing, because I this last week I've been reacting a lot too, and I've been really reflecting on what's underneath the reaction, that I wasn't like, I'm reacting to things that aren't it's too much what I'm reacting to, that it can't be the situation externally. It has to be within me. So it was beautiful to hear your share, really. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Share. And also, I guess I'll just add while Angela's away, is that I was thinking about like the songs that I was sharing, and the song Perfectly Imperfect, parents are human too. We're all human, and to really remind ourselves that we are here to learn and grow. And that's just really what it's about. And if we can forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we make, that's where it all begins. And like, just to keep remembering that we are here to learn and continue. But being aware, like the growth that comes from just asking the questions, the right questions, and taking the time to reflect, I think is key. I know for me, it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We had a potty emergency, and it's like, okay, this thing is just, and we make a joke because in the Power of Love ministry, we had Parenting with Spirit series, like where people came and talked over a course of weeks. And so most of the time I'm like, Parenting with Spirit. Yeah. And I will say too that there's a excuse me, there's a line early in the course, like chapter 1, or and it says something to the effect of like, if you knew the truth or something, you would hide nothing about yourself. And so one of the things I find is really healing for me is when I share, my imperfections. And because I'm honestly astounded by how imperfect I feel I am at times with all that I know. I'm like, if I am this reactive with all this knowledge, and I think that's a sort of double coin thing where it's like, it gives me a lot of compassion and I can relate to people on a wider spectrum. The other flip coin is that, okay, I have the tools and I'm choosing not to use them, and I don't have to feel guilty or mad about myself. But my sweet friend, Angela, let's use them, because it comes down to loving ourselves so much that we would give ourselves the most beautiful experience of parenting that's available. And that's a gift of love for yourself. And that's the thing that I've learned from Jennifer Hadley is like, because I will never forget her saying, I love myself too much to allow myself to get upset. And I'm like, oh my God, never heard it put that way. And as a parent, you're like, there are moments where I'm like, this miracle child is so beautiful and brilliant. And this is like, I am in the life of my dreams on some level. I am really so blessed. And to just love myself so much to be awake to the miracles rather than falling in these ego pit traps where I want to bring them to the light. I want to talk about them and I want to get it. That's why the manifesto is like, oh, good. It's almost like the Constitution of America. It's like, we're going to break this thing, but we need to have something holding us to, the highest possibility, to keep bringing us up to it. So yeah, it's so miraculous. But again, I was around a lot of parents today. And, it's that same thing where I remember this friend of mine, which when I practiced this speech, I called her like Holy Mother Saint Teresa. I'm like, it should be her name because she is just amazing, and it's not to put a human being on a pedestal. But I am really respecting her consistency. And I remember one time she said that because our children were in the same dance class and we were witnessing this mother sort of scold her child and like threaten her to get back in there and or threaten her for running around and having a little too much fun maybe. And my friend later commented like, oh my gosh, did you hear that mother? She sounds like her love is so conditional. And because my friend is so innocent and she's so committed to unconditional love, that conditional love is quite like it throws her off. And I'm like, you're so precious, you're so pure. And I'm like, and now it's to apply unconditional love to that mother. Because like you can come to that stance where you're like, okay, I believe in unconditional love for my child, but then you're going to see a lot of contrast out in the world. And I just feel like now it's, I was supporting my friend to say like, we have to apply unconditional love to her. She's doing her best, and it's just like a constant application of this on all levels, everywhere. Yeah. So. Okay, anything else? We have another minute or so. Anybody want to share anything else?
what was that quote, the Jesus quote that really hit me about seeing people as innocent, what was that?
Okay. Well, there was this one. Is it the one that says, as a loving brother, I'm deeply concerned with your mind and urge you to follow my example as you look at yourself and at your brother and see in both the glorious creations of a glorious Father?
That wasn't it, but that it's the same, like that he I think,
Oh.
was it? There's another one like, about seeing the innocent, like, I don't know, it really helped me actually. Whatever
Okay.
you view something. Oh, they don't know.
Oh, they know not what they've done.
Yes.
Okay.
The idea that like, yeah, I know we have time, but
Yeah.
I love that concept that like, it's like holding that concept to be true, that like they know not what they've done, at the same time acknowledging your own feelings.
Mm,
Something does hurt. You know what I'm saying? If someone
yeah.
says, I'm talking about child, well, actually, if like an adult hurts you, it's like that fine line between knowing that they don't know, and then where do you say, I know, and I hold them as a reflection of the divine in me, and that we're both, I can see that in them. And at the same time, they've done something to actually, that wasn't, I don't want to use the word right, but you know what I'm saying? Like that they
Yeah.
acknowledge the pain of what actually occurred.
Yeah. Which is what it's so it's tricky because when you're parenting, it's like you're often saying things like, wow, I can see it's really hard for you to share right now, acknowledging their so I get that you're really angry and we can't use our but when you're in an adult thing, you're like, well, I'm not your mom, so I'm not gonna but that's the thing about when spirit will show us what to do, spirit will guide us if we choose to go with spirit's guidance there. Because personality to personality, and we get somewhere, but not the like highest possibility. All right.
Way to go. Way to go, Angela.
Oh, thank you. You sweet
You're
friends.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Aw.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm so grateful. Welcome back, everyone. Here's where you can, write your manifesto in the chat if you want, but no, let us know if there's anything you'd like to declare from your conversations. Yeah, anything you are feeling recommitted to or grateful for. And so thank you for staying and thank you for going into those breakouts, because it kind of takes like the real, the committed people. Now, not everybody's free to be involved today, but some people do. They only stay to listen and they don't stay to participate. So thank you for staying. And yeah, Nancy, you're going to write something or you want to say something?
Speak.
Okay.
Forever to try type it. Hi. When I was in our group, that someone asked me to, we shared, and then somebody asked me to tell a story, and I said, "Ooh." And while I was telling the story, I have my one daughter left, and she doesn't have any children, but she has neighbor children, friends that has. She's been babysitting since the little girl's 6.5, and the little boy's now 2, and those are like her children. And so that she's getting the chance to be a parent and everything. But the little girl is like has the same, it's similar to Amy when she was that age. And I said, yeah, it's like, and Amy she cried and cried and cried and cried. Well, the point being, when I started sharing that, and they kept listening, and I kept sharing, all of a sudden realized Amy was to cry and cry and cry. And way back then, she took her time coming into the world. And then when she did, she just cried and cried and cried. And the only time she was like, would be what I would hold her. And yet she cried and cried. And my response was to get her away from me. So I could just get her off of me. And then I remembered our conversation we had when Justine was little. And I remember something I saw on television about they did thing of two things. There was a thing on TV they did an experiment with a little baby monkey. They took it away from its mom when it was 3 or 4 weeks old, as early as it could, and then put it in a cage by itself and then observed it. And it just shrunk and shriveled and shook and like this. And because it was separated from the love, right? Then the other thing was, I know I've seen on TV and everything that there's different cultures, like in Africa or even our Native Americans and Eskimos, they wear papooses for their babies. They wear their babies in a papoose. And I know cultures in Africa I've seen where there's like a sling or a piece of cloth where they wear them on their hip or something. But the point I remember them saying was the child was always connected to the mom's body, or they could, next to their heart or something. And, until an older, they might be 2 years old or something. And, but the child was never separated from the mom. The child never had any problems like that we have here. We just rip off, it's like, that's like taboo here. And it's like those cultures have the secret. They have the secret of parent. It's not they're not separated from the love, the mother love, whatever. And so then I realized that's why Amy. One of the people said that's why Amy was crying. Being separated. She came when she came into the world. She came in separated from my body that way. But then, she was like, this is the beauty of these little groups and this to share. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like just people listening and hearing you get to it yourself. So anyway, one more thing. Take a look at my hair. It came back in. Looks really thick. But I started the next cancer thing and it's starting to fall out again. So take a picture, mental picture.
Okay.
I'm showing you today.
Oh, thanks for sharing, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Oh,
thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. I know, lots of ahas because we're children, we're parent, we're all the roles. Okay, so moving through the service, this is our time to say a few announcements. For the ministry, we have our sorry, I closed some of my screens, but we have our End My Self-Sabotage 6-week challenge coming up. So we always offer week 1 as a free experience so that you can see what it's like. And so it's over 6 weeks. We used to do it in 6 days, and it's so much to uncover and recognize and realize, and that we spread it out over 6 weeks. So you have a little more time to go through. Jennifer has some amazing videos and worksheets that really help bring things to the light. And we do this with group sessions. So you get to have, like Nancy was just sharing, powerful experiences, sharing with others. So if you'd like to learn more about the End My Self-Sabotage 6-week challenge, I just put that in the chat. We also have, forgive me because things closed, just asking, giving everyone the opportunity to support the ministry in doing the Sundays with Spirit. So I will just put that in the chat where you can make a donation one time or ongoing. And we also have our text messages that also are a way that you can support the ministry and receive a daily text. So I put those in the chat. I think that's kind of all I can handle in my awareness right now. And then I'll say, Jennifer Paskow, do you have any announcements you'd like to make? I'm putting you on the spot quickly, but.
Well, if you're interested in hearing my music, it's on Spotify, Jennifer Paskow. And
my children's music is on there, but I'm coming out with an album for everybody this summer. So keep an eye out for that.
Okay, great. And okay. I'm so funny because I'm like, okay, Crystal has a question. Can you put it in the chat, Crystal, or is it something you want to? We've kind of opened things up. We've got hands up.
It's a quick question about the self-sabotage.
Sure.
How much of that course is free for those who have already belonged to
Masterful Living, it's free.
Yes.
It's completely
Okay.
free, the whole 6 weeks.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That was my question. Thank you so
Oh, great.
much.
Thanks for asking that. Okay. I don't have any announcements for myself right now. I am a certified spiritual counselor in Jennifer's ministry. You hear that I am a human parent, if that may relate or help. So I'm here and I will put my email in the chat for anyone who'd like to reach out, and I can do that. So we will wrap up with Jennifer, if you have one more song for us, and then we'll have Lisa close out with a prayer. I think we've covered it, so I'll give you the floor here.
Thank you for having me. It's always so lovely to be here. Because circle like the sun, shine, shine. Because circle like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it all, feel the love again. Because circle like the sun, shine, shine. Loca, sama sa, sakino, baba, I am peace, I am love, I am light. You are peace, you are love, you are sun. Because something like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it hard, feel the love.
Hear the music.
Because something like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it hard, feel the love again. Loca, sama sa, sakino, baba. May all beings be happy and free. May all beings be happy and free. Make a circle like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it hard, feel the love, feel the love. Make a circle like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it hard, feel the love, and give yourself a hug. Loca, sama sa, sakino, baba. May all beings be happy, free. Because circle like the sun, shine, shine. Touch it all, feel the love, give.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. We couldn't hear the guitar we're not picking up the guitar, just in the audio, just as a feedback. And it was coming in and out
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, thank you for letting me know.
But we could hear like a lot of it, but then we would lose it. But
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. But thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to listen because I feel like what you're doing is so aligned with what I'm working on, that we're going to bring you in the car everywhere.
Love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And thank you for being here, Lisa, to volunteer to pray us in and out. And so I'll get out of your way here. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for a wonderful service. So we're so grateful for this gathering today, Sundays with Spirit. We feel more connected with Spirit, with the Divine Mother and Father, leading and guiding us every day. Remember to reconnect with the Holy Spirit and ask for help, ask for that guidance and wisdom when we need it. We're so grateful for Angela and Jennifer's beautiful gifts in sharing today. And we're blessing all parents and all children, including our own inner children, this day and every day, all around. We're sharing that peace and that love, joy, freedom, and harmony with everyone, knowing that we're one. Let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, GJ behind the scenes. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You
Bye
too.
for now.
Thank you. Bye.